Welcome to Center Cup. I am Kyle Sereno, joined as always by Will Neary and Nick Newmeyer, and we've got a big time preview day today. It is U.S. Open week, so we are going to do a deep dive into the U.S. Open, the course, history, a bunch of guys that we like and don't like, and we are, of course, going to make some picks as well. But first, we are going to start with some of the news over the weekend, some play that happened. Of course, the Canadian Open was going on over the weekend at TPC Toronto and a couple other tournaments. But let's start with the Epson Tour that also took place. Nick, what do you got for us there?
Yeah, we've as Northwestern graduate students, we've often gone out of our way to highlight some of the pro cats on the tour. Obviously, Matt Fitzpatrick's given us a lot to talk about. But we had a new name sort of emerge on the Epson Tour this past weekend, and that's Lauren Wynn. She graduated last year from Northwestern, played a huge role on the national championship winning team. She got her first career victory on the Epson Tour at the Firekeepers Championship in Michigan. And, it's a great story for Northwestern. It's a great story for Lauren. I had the opportunity to speak with her and write a story on her after the national championship, just sort of getting a sense of her life story, her journey through the game of golf. And it's a really inspiring tale. Her parents left Vietnam on a raft about 45 years ago and got to America in Seattle, where they met in a Vietnamese church and sort of just gave everything they could to make sure that Lauren would be able to play golf at a competitive level, and just tried to support her as much as she could throughout her life. Eventually, she made her way to Northwestern, where she just absolutely balled out for 4 years. Was a two-time All-American there. And, just off the course as well, she does a lot to sort of give back to her community. She has a nonprofit foundation that gives scholarships to kids in need. She also runs like a junior amateur in Seattle that, gives back to her community there as well. She's just an all-around good person. And, I would say the one thing that really stood out to me when I was doing that profile was that all throughout the championship, all throughout that run, people were heralding her as a leader. You couldn't mention her name on the TV without people talking about how much of a leader she was, how she inspired the team, how the team was rallying for her and fighting for her. And then when I mentioned that to her, when I asked her what her experience was with that, almost immediately she just shot that down. She's like, I'm not a leader. I'm not trying to lead. This was such a good team. They did not need a leader. She was just playing her part and just trying to do her best to uplift the team in any way she could. And so just her mentality in that was just absolutely inspiring as well. It was one of those real stories where as you're writing it, as you read it, you really feel like you took away something from that. So, but getting to the Firekeepers in itself, Lauren led, she took the lead on the second day of competition, really just took it the rest of the way. There was a 3-hour rain delay on Sunday, or was it Saturday? It was one of those days. It was this weekend, but there was a rain delay. People were making early birdies, and she kind of she made a birdie on the fourth and fifth hole, then made a double on 6, and then just kind of settled in, kind of hovered around that 10, 11, 12 number, all while people were slowly starting to make up ground behind her. But really, if you look at the stats, she isn't really one of the strongest hitters of the ball. Averaged about 240 yards driving distance on the week, but 24 out of 28 fairways hit, 31 greens and reg out of 36. She's just an incredibly accurate player, and especially there were heavy winds all weekend, and she had mentioned even after that, growing up in Seattle, playing college golf in Chicago, she's gotten very good at playing in the wind. And so she was able to, I believe she gained about 4.5 strokes tee to green on the field, which is incredibly impressive. And so with the win, she now moves up to 4th in the Epson Tour standings in the points race. The top 15 get LPGA Tour cards at the end of the year. And so obviously getting those points early on in the Epson Tour season and getting in that high position early on is going to be really big for her. And, I'm really interested to see if she can carry on this momentum throughout the year. She's already off to a great start. So great for Lauren, great for Northwestern, and hope she can keep going.
Yeah, you said top 15 on the Epson Tour get the cards after
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see if she can hold on to that, and obviously a lot of how much. I guess we're probably a little over halfway through the season on the Epson Tour as well, and
it goes till
yeah,
about
if she can
October.
hold on. Yeah, it'd be awesome to see her find her way up to the LPGA Tour, and
Yeah, and I think
get to highlight her a little bit more.
she made her LPGA debut in the fall last year at the Annika. She got a sponsor's exemption delivered to her by Caitlin Clark as well for winning the national championship. And she played a pro-am. This is probably one of the best pro-am groups you could have of all time. It was her, Annika Sorenstam, Caitlin Clark, and Nelly Korda.
Wow.
That's an incredible foursome right there.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
Not at. I think she even mentioned, she's like, I was more nervous for the pro-am than making my debut.
Yeah, I bet. And probably a good way to take some of the edge off, having to play in front of Annika Sorenstam and Nelly Korda first thing.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, obviously, the smaller tours like Epson, Corn Ferry, like they don't often get a lot of coverage in the golf world, but it was a great result this week. It's definitely one that we're rooting for, and hopefully we can sort of take a bit of a closer look at it throughout the year, and keep tabs on her as well.
Nice, yeah, that is a really cool story. Okay, what other recent news? Jim Furyk. What's going on with the Ryder Cup?
Not a ton. It's just worth mentioning. This came out this morning that Jim Furyk is adding a data analytics team consisting of Justin Ray and Hunter Stewart to his Ryder Cup group, which is, I think, something that we've been, I don't know if calling for is the right word, but it is like an indication of, I guess, just difference, like something new, which is obviously very necessary on the U.S. Ryder Cup team. And one of the things that has been, one of Luke Donald's calling cards and what has made the European team so successful is his attention to detail and data, and how he kind of puts together pairings, matchups, etc. with that stuff. So cool to see Jim Furyk delving into that, and obviously, good for Justin Ray and Hunter Stewart. Justin Ray, this will not be the last time he's mentioned on this podcast. I've got a couple stats of his that I want to make sure to highlight as we get into the U.S. Open preview. Always does good work on, primarily you see it on X. He works with The Athletic for major championship weeks, including this week again. So it'll be cool to see what kind of stuff he digs up and what that data analytics team changes, doesn't change. If they have I'll be really curious to see if they have some of their approach publicized, because it would be really cool to dig into what they're actually finding when they look back at past Ryder Cups and how they're going to change their approach in 2027 because of it. So that was a cool little thing. The only other one worth noting that at this point is maybe a little bit stale, but your boys were busy graduating, unfortunately, so we were a little bit, it was a pretty swamped couple of days. We had to put on some purple robes and walk down a couple aisles, and across one stage or two. But
none of us tripped.
None of us tripped. I was nervous, man. The lights are bright up there. It's a little intimidating. A lot of people looking at you. But the one thing that meant is that we didn't get to mention that Jackson Koiven is officially turning pro after his junior year. We talked about this a bunch. Obviously, he had this opportunity last year as well. Decided to return to Auburn for his junior year, but after the historic season that he had this year, it was kind of, I don't know if expected is the right word, but it's more than understandable that he's decided to now just, turn pro, take his talents to the PGA Tour. I believe, Nick, you mentioned, right, he's still an amateur for the U.S. Open, but it's right after the U.S. Open he will make his pro debut.
Right. So he was able to make starts in the U.S. Open and the Open Championship should he decide to stay an amateur. I don't think there were even conversations that he might have even stuck around for the U.S. Amateur, because that's one of the only trophies that he doesn't have. I don't think anybody truly expected him to stick around that long. I don't think anybody expected him to stick around much longer past the U.S. Open. And we got our answer there. He's going to be making his debut at the John Deere Classic. So we'll be keeping tabs on that. It's probably going to be one of, if not the most hyped tour debuts ever. Okay. I'm not gonna screw him up by saying it's the most anticipated since Tiger Woods. I'm not gonna put that pressure on him, but I'm really excited, guys.
Definitely since John Rahm and his amateur career came to an end and everything like that. It's It is. It's funny though because it is kind of. It feels like this to me. It feels like this is his debut. I know it's not. And I know it's not even his major championship debut. He's played in a major championship before
Right.
last year, but just the fact that he turned professional. I know he's not technically professional for the U.S. Open, but like this is going to be the. I feel like you're going to have a lot of eyes on him here too. I mean, just in terms of odds, you just look at who he's around on DraftKings, and he's like around guys like well-established veterans. Let's see, like Jason Day, Cam Smith, Nikolai Højgaard, Keegan Bradley. He's like in that. He's right in front of Gary Woodland, a U.S. Open winner, Akshay Bhatia, Sahith Theegala, et cetera. Jason Day again, like I said, Dustin Johnson. There's a lot of he's in pretty good company there for somebody who is not even a professional at this point. And we'll get to our draft and everything, but you'll see, there's one of the groups is the amateurs. We've got to pick an amateur for the U.S. Open draft, and it's a pretty easy first selection, and then it's a very, very steep drop off after Jackson Koiven. So, I mean, great cap off to a ridiculous collegiate career, ridiculous amateur career. Will be really fun to see what he does professionally. Again, kind of feels like this week is almost a professional debut, even though it's not. But you never know. Maybe he'll do something really cool. I know he said something today about he believes he can beat anybody in the world. So got to have that attitude, I guess, right?
That's the kind of confidence you're looking for. I know I wrote a piece last week just sort of analyzing his career and when we can start to expect him. And I knew he was good, but I really didn't realize just how good he was. I think Data Golf has an amateur index of just like the peak of an amateur's career. Sadly, it only goes up to 2010. Otherwise, we're robbed of seeing some of the great collegiate players of, Tiger, Luke Donald, those players that really could have made more of a difference there. But looking at least since 2010, Jackson Koiven has the highest peak index amongst their rankings. That's higher than, John Rahm, Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth. And I was
going to say, you skipped over a name there for a second.
You didn't think I was not going to mention him, did you? But no, he's truly one of the best amateurs we've seen in quite a long time. And so to have him making his debut, like you said, it's going to be that there's going to be a lot more eyes on the U.S. Open than the John Deere Classic. Let's be honest. So I think it's going to be really, really fun to see him play. I really don't think this is going to be one of those debuts you forget either. I think this is going to be, he's a player that can definitely, he has tour experience as well. He had a couple top 10s last year, and they're at smaller events, but he's definitely a player that can make an instant impact. We've talked on this show about what are the odds he'll be on the Ryder Cup next year. There's a bit dramatic maybe, but
no, it's fair.
Keep your eyes peeled. And then just speaking of the Ryder Cup, one thing to cap it off, I think we even said on this show, the one thing that they need to do is call Justin Ray and get some analytics there. I think that's the one thing that the U.S. team has been really criticized on in previous years is just their complacency and doing just the same thing over and over again. And we honestly thought it was going to be that same thing again with Jim Furyk, but you're seeing at least a willingness to go. Obviously, I don't think we're going to get as far as bringing bed sheets from your home country just so that you can sleep well. And I think that is a bit excessive there, but just seeing how committed Luke Donald is to his team, to leading the team, that's the one thing we've talked about when just thinking about who could be a captain is why don't we have a Luke Donald? Why don't we have someone that is that committed and just truly cares about preparing the team as best they can be? And so I think just the fact that they're willing to make those strides and just sort of delve into the new unknown is, definitely uncharted territory for a U.S. Ryder Cup team. And I think it's very encouraging to see.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Nice. Okay. How about a brief Canadian Open recap? Bud Cauley won another Monday that we sit, or Tuesday, recapping a tournament over the weekend, saying what a feel good story we've got from a winner. Bud Cauley been through a ton over the last 10 years or so, come back from a bunch of injuries, and just, I mean, his first PGA Tour win and 239th career start kind of says it all right there. Will, what'd you make of this win?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to what you just said, to be honest. I mean, like you said, the highlight here is, or the headline, I guess I should say, is, Bud Cauley. This is going to be a long headline. I don't actually have a headline ready, but he suffered a lot of injuries through a car accident in 2018 and didn't really play much. He came back pretty quickly. I think it was within 4 months, but then, it wasn't the same guy. The pain didn't go away. Didn't play between September 2020 and February 2024 when he returned in full. But yeah, 239th career start, gets his first PGA Tour win. I think he was on the list of most professional PGA Tour starts without a win. He's 5th or something. He gets to cross his name off that list, no longer on the list that you don't want to be on. Yeah, I mean, again, to be honest, we had we were graduating on Sunday. I don't think any of us caught a ton of this ending, but looking back at it, there was a little bit of drama to be had. I mean, it was a crowded leaderboard until, the 12th hole when Bud Cauley, I think he drove it into the hay, tried to advance the ball forward, got it up into the rough short of a greenside bunker, and then made that chip for birdie up over the bunker to get into a one-shot solo lead and separate from Jimmy Stanger and Jackson Suber. I think Jim Nance gave it the call, the shot of a lifetime for Bud Cauley, which might not be wrong, to be fair. At least so far, that's probably pretty accurate. Yeah, he ends up getting to 17 under, wins by 2 strokes over, I believe it was Matt Fitzpatrick, ends up there in second place. So a couple of good finishes. Yeah, Matt Fitzpatrick was second at 15 under. But good turn. I mean, yeah, again, I didn't get to watch him much on Sunday, but looking back at it, like you said, another feel-good story. Gets him into all the major championships through a couple different avenues. 2026, it vaults him up to the 40th spot in OWGR. He was outside looking in at the U.S. Open. Now he's playing this week. In the 2026 Open, they randomly had that, Open qualifying series, the top 3 not otherwise exempt get in. Obviously, he qualified to the Open that way. And then with the win, he gets into the 2027 Masters and PGA Championship. So he really set himself up well for this one. And who knows, with an opportunity, maybe this week he can get himself a top 10 and keep the ball rolling here and find his way into a couple future majors down the road. But yeah, the headline is really just what a feel good story. 239th start, been through hell and back pretty much to get here. So good to see him in the winner's circle.
And those I did say that we weren't going to talk about this, and I'll hold my tongue on some of the bigger things, but just seeing something like Bud Cauley, seeing that kind of story is exactly the story that is going to get left behind when we move into these track 1, track 2 events. I'm not gonna get too much into, if you're really curious, look up Rory McIlroy's comments today at the U.S. Open about track 2 events, and I don't think you're gonna disagree with me there. It sounds terrible. It sounds like just the wrong direction for the PGA Tour. I'm going to keep my mouth shut until the Travelers and Brian Rolap's press conference there. But it's what I've said from the start, that these stories are exactly what make the PGA Tour what it is. And it's very important that you get these sort of underdog stories, and you lose that even with the current signature events model. So that's my little scheduling TED talk there. But
yeah, we don't need to go too deep into that, but there were a couple other.
Don't go down that rabbit hole.
No, we won't. We'll save that for a day, a quieter week. But the other takeaways that bring us towards the U.S. Open, Brooks Koepka did WD with a weird hand injury. He said he felt fine, and then randomly a couple fingers on one of his hands would go numb, and he wouldn't really be able to grip the club, or those 2 fingers wouldn't be able to grip the club, and that resulted in a WD after his 3rd round, which his 3rd round was significantly worse due to this weird grip thing. I don't really know what to do with that. I mean, I didn't have high hopes for Brooks Koepka coming to the U.S. Open, even though he technically is, the defending Shinnecock Hills champion from 2018. That being said, he's playing this week in the U.S. Open. Do I think his numb hand is gone? I don't really know. I don't know. He led the field in putting for all, like on average for the 3 rounds he did play, and that's even with a pretty mediocre Saturday putting day. So there was like signs of good stuff. And again, I've said it probably 30 times on this podcast that he's one of the best approach players on the PGA Tour even this year. But is that going to translate to Shinnecock Hills? Probably not. But it was good to see him near the top of the leaderboard again. I'm still waiting for him to do it at a real event, and I'm not counting the T12 at the Masters because he wasn't really like present. He wasn't a part of that one. But yeah, I don't know. A couple other names maybe to shout out, but I we don't want to spend too much time on the RBC Canadian Open when the U.S. Open is looming. So
yeah, I think we've said from the start with Brooks Koepka that like the ball striking is there. It's absolutely there. But the putting has just been such a major wild card for him that, we said once he gets the putter firing, it's going to be absolutely dangerous. And, he does the Thursday, Friday, the putter was firing and it was really, really good. Like he was near the top of the leaderboard both days. It really looked like he could have been a force into the weekend. But, golf is unfair. Like as soon as we get something good, then, we lost him right then there. Like, literally once he got the putter firing, like we've been asking for months, then his hand started to go numb. So I think I said at the beginning of the week when he was playing well that, you could theoretically talk me into him at the US Open just if he had a good week in Canada. And, that was true up until Saturday afternoon. And then it's like, okay, like you said, I don't really know what to do with this hand injury now. So it's like, yeah.
Weird stuff.
Yeah, I feel like he could have been a popular pick had that not happened.
He definitely would have been. He would have been like the Twitter darling of the week.
Yeah, no doubt. He was looking good, so it sucks to see, honestly. But.
Yeah. Speaking of Twitter darlings that played very well in Canada, we had the return of one of the tours, the Canadian himself, Sudarshan Yalamaraju. Is he back, ladies and gentlemen?
Almost certainly not, but a T8 will do at the RBC Canadian Open. It was nice to see his name up on the leaderboard again. I was playing golf on Saturday, and I, didn't have my phone on me for a lot of the day, and I get in to have lunch. We're not too deep into the tournament day, but just to see Sudarshan Yalmaraju's name on the first page of the leaderboard at 11 under, I think at the time or something like that, around there, was a blessing. It was nice. And I was sitting next to my dad, and I got to explain to him who Sudarshan Yalmaraju was. So that was a good time for me, for everybody involved. I'm sure he had a great time with that too. But it was great to see him back on there. I think there's a couple other guys that I know. Actually, Nick, I'll let you give Eric Cole a shout out. I think the other guys on the leaderboard, Fitzpatrick, Hovland, and stuff, I think let's hold those for as we get into the U.S. Open because we can mention their finishes as we talk about those guys. But I'll let you. I'll clear the room for your Eric Cole diatribe. I don't think that's the right word, but go for it.
So this was a vibes pick. I knew that I have a tendency to pick near the top of the odds board. So I'm like, let's have some fun with this. Let's just go through the data golf odds. Just sort of scroll, and stop, and then just look at someone's page and see if you could talk yourself into it. And Eric Cole had been playing incredibly well up until that point. And, he was someone that, I could definitely talk myself into. His iron play was very, very good. Or his putting was really, really good, which fit the course a lot. He had gained strokes. He had gained almost a stroke on average approach. His putting was really, really good. And then it all fell apart in Canada. He was tied for the lead after day one. As someone that is currently last in the points list right now, I saw that at the first time. My guy is leading. This is, alarm bells. We're in a really good spot. And then I had a series of weird dreams Thursday night heading into Friday, and I'm not gonna burden this show with all of them. But the one dream in particular revolved around me checking my phone on Friday morning and seeing that Eric Cole was dead last. And then lo and behold, I wake up that morning and I check the leaderboard and he is at 5 over par. And so he went from 6 under to even par in the span of 24 hours and missed the cut. And like, there was not a lot of good things to come out of the Star Wars sequels, but the one scene of Kylo Ren just like slashing his lightsaber along the wall in anger and just like absolutely crashing out, that was me, like just looking at the leaderboard, just nothing was safe. Like that was just depressing. Like we were so close. Like it was so good. Like I picked Ludwig for the players and we were so close, and then he just ran out. Eric Cole, we could have done good things, man. Like we were robbed.
Yeah, that was gross. I mean, I as somebody competing with you in the points game, I wasn't maybe quite as crash out as you were. However, that was impressive to go from T1 at 6 under par through round 1 to shooting a 76 in round 2 and missing the cut doesn't get much worse than that, But at least you had a weekend free of worry. It was over by Saturday. That's good.
Yeah.
Silver lining for sure. Okay, how about we will talk about more guys and maybe allude to how they played in Canada when we dive into some specific people at the U.S. Open. But first, why don't we get a little overview, some tournament notes and storylines. Of course, you have Scotty going for the Grand Slam. We'll talk about some of the course setup and stuff. Will, where do you want to start here?
I'm just so excited, man. Like this is, U.S. Opens make me like so giddy, and this one's going to be so hard. It's going to rock. It's like, Shinnecock Hills, for those who don't know, just a little brief history, has hosted this event before. 2018, Brooks Koepka won at 1 over par. It's the last time a U.S. Open finished over par. The winner was over par last year. I believe J.J. Spaun was 1 under par at Oakmont, so pretty close, but here, this is the last time, and this is from Justin Ray. Again, I told you it wasn't going to be the last time you heard his name. 654 players have played a U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills. 3 have ever finished under par. That would be Brooks Koepka, and then I believe there's Corey who was it? Was it Corey Pavin that did it in 2004? Retief Goosen and somebody else, perhaps, and Raymond Floyd. So there's not been many. At all, which is pretty ridiculous. It's just so fun. I mean, and there's been not only has it been a hard golf course, but it's been like one of the ones that gets a lot of headlines because of it. There was the losing the greens, the USGA losing the greens, losing the golf course in 2004, which again was when Retief Goosen won. That was when in the final round the scoring average was a 78.7 on a par 70 golf course in professional golf at a major championship on Sunday. And that was after it had been 73 on average all week. In 2018, it was honestly not much easier. And that's you consider the amount of advancements made in golf technology between 2004 and 2018. And you look at the fact that, again, on a par 70, the round average were 76.5, 73.6, 75.3, and 72.2 over 4 rounds of golf at a par 70 golf course like this. It's just awesome. I'm so excited, and the wind is going to be whipping. It's going to just rock. It's going to be such a good week.
It is. We've said that the PGA Championship is you expect it to be hard, but it doesn't have that identity as impossible. Whereas the U.S. Open, carnage is the best word. This is when all amateur golfers can just sit at their TVs and watch these professionals squeam it is and just struggle. And this is where the real sickos come out and just absolutely enjoy a week like this. And I am absolutely one of them. A U.S. Open should be hard, should be damn near impossible. I think if you're finishing over par, then you're doing something wrong, or finishing under par, you're doing something wrong. So I'm very excited, especially we've seen what the rough looks like. We've seen how the greens are rolling. Obviously, the wind is going to play a massive factor, and so it's going to be great.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of strategy involved when you're, kind of reading previews of Shinnecock and how we get closer to the event and you kind of have a better idea of what the weather's going to be like. And you see stuff like even putting is going to be affected by the wind. That's when you know you're in for it.
Yeah. And it's like, I think one of the things that, you follow guys like Michael Kim on Twitter for reasons like this. He played a couple of practice rounds and starts tweeting out some of his takeaways. And he mentioned that one of the things, like, for reference, the winds are supposed to be highest on Thursday, which they're like 15 to 25 miles an hour. But throughout the whole week, they're around like that 10 to 20 miles an hour steady, and then gusts at like 25 to 30. But he mentioned, he was like, yeah, it's like 15 miles an hour wind is not that crazy for a professional golfer, I guess. It's crazy for me. I would struggle. But he said, like, out there's no trees out there. It's like open parkland, basically. It's just like there's nothing to stop the wind. So any bit of wind there is, you're feeling it. And it's just going to, like, even a 10 mile an hour, 15 mile an hour wind, like there's no hiding from it. You can't, try to, like, keeping the ball low can do some stuff, but maybe not quite as much as it would at other golf courses. And this is going to be really fun to watch golfers try to, maneuver their way around this golf course. I think one of the, like, looking back at some of the events that have been hosted here, the 1995 U.S. Open that Corey Pavin won, there's a very famous shot, and if you haven't seen it, you should go see it. It's when, golf was very different in 1995, but it's a 450-yard hole, and he hits, he's got 228 yards in on the 72nd hole, and hits a 4-wood low draw under the wind that runs out to like 5 feet. And it's just like a ridiculous golf shot. And that's the kind of stuff. I know it's very different now. We're not going to see a 4-wood from 228 yards in all likelihood. But that's the kind of strategy and, like, golf skill that I want to have to see this week. I want to have to see guys get really creative. And it's like, that's not even just an approach shots off the tee with this wind. Like, these greens are huge, but they've got so much runoff, and there's so many weird little runoff areas. The rough is going to be thick. There's not much room for error. You're going to have to be, like, if you miss long and you're trying to chip back downwind, getting up and down on some of these greens where you're chipping with the wind at your back, you're not going to be able to stop the ball. Like, there's so many different things that you're going to have to take into account with every shot. And it's going to be, like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't necessarily get, like, a great winner, quote unquote, in that, like, we could easily walk out here with another, in terms of odds, like JJ Spawn or like somebody around like plus 10,000 or something like that, just because of how hard the golf course is going to be. It's going to bring people together. But, like, I think we're going to get an incredible tournament regardless of who wins.
So what are some of the features of the course? I know I was watching Golf Channel earlier this morning, and they're live from the U.S. Open, and they were talking about the fairways a ton and how they might be a little wider, but if you miss one, you are going to be in trouble quickly. So, obviously the bombers usually have a good advantage, but you really want to try and keep it on the fairway. Are there anybody in particular who that kind of scares you about, or kind of what about that way and guys are going to be approaching the course is going to, kind of determine who is in contention?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys that, like, stand out to me that were, I mean, Bryson, there's a reason Bryson is, like, the hot pick to miss the cut, is because, you saw him at the PGA Championship, you saw him at the Masters, like, I don't know. He's not, like you said, the fairways are pretty wide, and then there's like 3 yards of very thick rough, and then it goes into just like hay, like up to your knees, up to your thighs type of, like, tall grass where lies are almost certain to be, like, you're just advancing the ball back into the fairway and trying to get it as far up there as you can to a number that you can play from, rather than actually trying to get it at the green in all likelihood, which is like what it should be. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, Bryson, another one, like, I'm a little worried about Rory in that type of environment. I think he's
very worried about Rory.
Opens. Yeah, I think the weird part to me is he's played really well at U.S. Opens, but what we saw at the PGA was that, like, it was similar in that, like, you were penalized a lot for missing fairways, and he didn't really adjust to that. Like, he just kind of kept his foot down. Was like, no, I'm actually just going to keep hitting my driver 330 yards and, like, try to figure it out. And that didn't, like, work great for him, obviously. So he's somebody, a guy I talked about last week. Wyndham Clark is somebody that I had my eye on. I mean, I picked him last week at the RBC Canadian Open. He did fine, but just, if he's inaccurate off the tee, it's going to be really tough. I mean, there's big fairways, but if you're a guy who tends to be really inaccurate, it's going to be brutal trying to find your way to making any bird. Like you're going to be living off scrambling for pars, which is not something you want to have to do at Shinnecock Hills, where getting up and down from anywhere is already so hard. Like you're just putting so much pressure on your golf game. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see what that brings in terms of strategy. It is a fairly long golf course. Like for a par 70, it's 7,400 yards. A couple long par fives, like some long par fours, a couple par fours over 500 yards or in that 500-yard area. Like it, especially with the wind, it's going to be tough because on one hand, you might want to take less club and lay up, or not lay up, but give yourself a better opportunity to be in the fairway. But then you're going to leave yourself a lot harder for a second shot. So it's really just player by player strategy. I have trouble believing that Rory's not just going to take driver, push it as far down there as he can, hope he draws a decent line, be willing to hack it out with a wedge.
Right.
But I don't really know that you can do that this week. So pretty much anyone who's inaccurate off the tee typically and just tries to push it really far down there is going to be somebody that's kind of on my shit list this week, is going to be a no-go.
Yeah, I think I called it a couple weeks ago saying Rory's going to miss the cut. And then to be fair though, every time it seems like every time Rory's made a start this year, it's been so far and few in between that we've kind of questioned what version of him we're going to get. And almost every time I'm proven wrong when I say I'm not expecting much out of Rory. But this is one of those times where I actually mean it, and I actually think that I'm going to be proven right. I think I'm finally going to be proven right this week about him. Because it's just, unless he, like you said, first off, he criticized Aronimink and called it like a bomber's paradise, where you could just hit the ball.
Yeah, he said there was no strategy off the tee.
Right, exactly. And then was one of the worst players in strokes gained off the tee. It just completely bit him in the ass. But then he still found ways to be near the top of the leaderboard. And he seemed like one of those players that could have probably made a run at Aaron Rye, but was not able to. And so, I don't know, historically this year, it has not been wise to underestimate Rory, but this is one of those weeks where I think that, it's pretty fair to do so this week, just because given his recent struggles with the driver, that's not an outlandish thing to say at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect from Rory. It feels like he's lurking, and it feels like we just haven't seen much from him lately, which we haven't just because he hasn't played that much. But it's not like he's been bad since he won the Masters by any stretch. Right. He just hasn't been elite necessarily. So he's someone who, we'll get into our picks. I don't know if any of us are going to pick him. But I'm very interested to see how he does. I could see it going one of both ways. Yeah. Could he miss the cut? Sure. I'd be surprised if that happens, though. I'm leaning towards he's going to be further into contention than he will be missing a cut.
Yeah. It's again, we talk about, like you said, Nick, the PGA Championship, he took what seemed to be exactly the wrong strategy and still finished T7.
Yeah.
T7, and then he won the Masters, obviously. Then the major before that, he was T7 as well. He was T19 at last year's U.S. Open. He's T9 or better at 6 of his last 7 U.S. Opens, the only exception being that T19 last year. He did miss the cut here in 2018. But, yeah, as much as I don't want to pick him this week, I also am it might be really stupid just to leave him off the board. Especially because, again, everybody's playing under these conditions, and these conditions are going to be really, really hard. There's not that many guys that have, I guess there's not that many guys that in my head are separate from the pack just because of how hard it's going to play. There's only we'll go into player like Scotty. Scotty's somebody, and I'm not a therapist, or I don't get into I don't want to try to diagnose his emotions a lot, but he's somebody I could see getting really frustrated on these, trying to find his way around these greens. And
Scotty Scheffler frustrated? What?
Are we going to be able to understand how frustrated he is? Or?
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he'll tell us. He'll tell his caddy at least. But yeah, like I don't know how that's going to work. One of the funny things that Michael Kim mentioned on his Twitter when he was talking about his practice rounds is that the greenside bunkers and the bunkers in general, but the greenside bunkers are like full of obviously sand, but also there's like fragments of shells and like little rocks in there that then get
here we go
all across the green. And I like somebody like tweeted that or responded to it or whatever and was like, imagine how frustrated Scotty's going to be if he has a putt going dead center and it hits a little rock and goes offline. Like, man, that would derail him in a heartbeat. And I don't blame him. It would derail me too. But yeah, the point being, like, there's just with Rory, there's like not that many players that I expect that I'm confident will differentiate themselves. He's just like, even when I think he's not playing right or not playing well or taking the wrong strategy, he's still top 10, T7. Like, it's like, I don't know.
He finds a way.
I tend to think he's probably going to be near the top of the leaderboard. Do I think he's going to win? Maybe not, but we'll see. He could miss the cut. Who knows?
Well, so with all the talk about how we think driving accuracy could play a big part, you would think that the guy who leads the tour in strokes gained off the tee would have a great chance to win, right?
You think? Are you going to tell me who that is?
Yeah, who do you think that could be? This, I don't even know how it's possible.
Is it Russell Henley?
It's Neil Shipley.
No,
You're
it's
kidding.
Not.
No way.
That can't be right. Wait. That's not right.
It doesn't make
Are you for real?
There's
strokes gained off the tee. Number one.
Wait. Wow.
Neil Shipley.
That's fucking. There's no way.
What the hell?
He's somehow like 15th in driving accuracy percentage too.
Yeah, I think it's a little different on data golf because they weight like stuff a little differently, but he's still 9th behind like Rory, Cam Young, Scotty Scheffler, Gary Woodland, Xander Schauffele.
And that's only with playing 36 holes each week.
Exactly. That's crazy.
Man, wow, that is nuts. You could have given me so many guesses before I got to Neil Shipley. Even knowing that it's you that's trying to get me to guess it.
I don't understand how that's even possible.
Yeah, I don't either.
How bad has the rest of his game been?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I need to share my screen and show you guys. I don't know if this is gonna like mess up everything, but I need to show you guys just how bad this is.
Are you trying to show his data golf profile?
No, I'm trying to show. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds to bring this banner down. There you go.
Look at that.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
For anybody listening and not watching online, he's showing us the pentagon, of the strokes gained, where it just has each and it shows you where the talent is. And he's just like it's nothing. It's all around the center, and there's just one little leg that juts all the way out to the peak of strokes gained off the tee. He's among the best on the tour at that, and among the worst on the tour at just about everything else.
That is absolutely insane. Okay, now how do I fix this? There we go. But yeah, this is going to don't hide my face. Well, I
was getting our media back up. Don't worry, you're good.
The ship is sailing to Shinnecock, so
I'll be there. What a story that would be.
Oh my God. I truly can't even. I know I wrote his name down here somewhere. I don't even know where. Maybe I didn't. I don't even know where his odds are. It would be.
I think we would have to retire if the ship won at Shinnecock.
Oh, his odds to even make the cut have to be pretty absolute.
Yeah, his odds to win are plus 100,000.
Yeah. Oh
to
my
finish
God.
top 20, it's plus 34. Top 10 is plus 3,400. Seems a low.
I mean, I'm sure his odds to he's got to be favored to miss the cut. You'd imagine.
Yeah, I would. Almost certainly. But yeah, I did drive. Anyways, driving accuracy. Yes, I think that is. I still can't believe that, man. Maybe Neil Shipley is the prodigal son here. He's just gonna tear up Shinnecock Hills. I thought you were gonna say like Russell. I thought you were trying to get me to say Aaron Rye or something.
Aaron Rye's up there too.
This is I'm a little.
Honestly,
worried.
the other people in that area are all good golfers. He's the only
Yeah.
one up there that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Aaron Rye, Russell Henley are all accuracy guys. But again, like I think the tough part with Russell Henley and with Aaron Rye is that it's not that short a golf course. And they're going to be accurate off the tee, but then, they're going to also be hitting longer clubs. And, both of them are great approach players. I recognize that, but still, you're hitting really long clubs into windy conditions and tough greens. Like it's just going to be hard to make any birdies. I mean, pars might win this thing anyway, but yeah, I'm keeping an eye on both those guys. I guess I'm keeping an eye on Neil Shipley now, apparently. I guess I have to. Damn, I didn't even put him into our picks tiers. He might have to be a selection. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm plotting.
Okay. With that said, do we want to talk about some guys individually, or do we want to get into picks and talk about guys in that way? What do we think?
Yeah, I think let's do. This is what we did last time. Do the picks, and then if there's guys we left out and didn't pick, we can scroll back through and talk through a couple. But for reference, the way we were going to do the picks is we were going to get. So we always let with our picks game, whoever's in last at the time, which right now is Nick in points, gets to pick first. Usually week by week. Something to celebrate for him, So because we have 5 tiers, like we did for the the PGA Championship this week, we're gonna let Nick pick a tier that he wants to pick first in, and then we're gonna spin a wheel and do a snake draft for the other ones. He might go first in 3 of them, who knows? But for reference, the tiers here, which are quite similar to what we did last time, are the favorites, which is up to plus 3,000 in odds. There's the next best, which is plus 3,000 to plus 7,000. There's the mid-range, which is plus 7,000 to plus 12,000, and then the long shots, which is plus 12,000 or higher. We are debating or workshopping that one. It might be renamed the Aaron Rye tier in future iterations of this episode, but for now, it is still going to be dubbed the long shots. And then we have the last category, which is just all the amateurs. Which I don't know, Nick. Do you have a tier that you desperately want to pick first in?
I mean, I think you have to look at what the rest of the options are in the tiers compared to everything else. So I think the only logical choice is to go for the amateurs.
Yeah, that's for to give a little background again, that means basically, unless he's insane, he gets Jackson Coyven. And the following behind him are, Preston Stout and Mason Howell and Miles Russell are probably the other big names. Giuseppe Puebla, the Juice himself is in the field. There's a couple others that I wrote down here. Logan Riley, Gunnlaugur Arne Sveinsson. Wanted to write that one down because he's Icelandic. And I was recently playing golf with somebody who had met him while he was at an event, a collegiate event near Chicago, where his team actually won. And yeah, he was apparently a very nice man, good family, Arne Sveinsson. So hoping for the best for him. We'll see how he does out there, but. Yeah. Anyways,
not the good family curse.
We'll hold off on letting you actually pick amateurs, Nick. We'll start at the top and work our way down.
Okay.
But I'll feel crazy if you don't pick Jackson Coyven. But anyways, we'll start at the top with favorites. But first, we got to spin a wheel. Which, look at that! It's up. It's there.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful wheel. There's an ad at the bottom that is unavoidable, and I'm sorry. We are not sponsored by them as much as we might like to be. Anyways, you see me, Nick, and Kyle up there. Will, Nick, and Kyle. Whoever this pick is will pick first for the favorites, and then we'll do a snake draft back and forth for the 4 tiers. 1, 2, 3. Oh no. Oh no!
Couldn't be.
No. Oh no! The accusations are already rolling in. It is Will as the first pick in the favorite. Oh no!
2 out of 3
scenario. 2 out of 3. That was worst case scenario, unfortunately for the pod. Nick, you go in the middle. Kyle, you go last.
Best wheel ever.
Yeah. No hijinks occurring. I promise. We don't need to spin it. Obviously, it's going to be Kyle. No hijinks. That's actually not great because I have truly no concept of who I'm going to pick here. Boy, this sucks. Okay, well, I guess I got a pick. So, anyway, Scott, it's favorites up to plus 3,000. Scotty, Rory are the 2 top ones, and you get John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood. I'm probably going to do something stupid. I feel it.
Don't you do? Oh, I have a feeling what you're gonna do. Will,
I'm
do
not gonna
yourself
go.
a favor. Don't do it.
I'm not going Cam. I'm definitely not going Ludwig. Don't worry. He's not.
Okay.
He's not the pick.
You said something stupid. I'm like,
I
oh,
know.
he's
I
gonna do
know.
it.
Well, I'm just thinking not picking Scotty or Rory is probably stupid, but I do think Ludwig's gonna very well might miss the cut. So that's another topic for another day. Xander Schauffele. I'm gonna go Xander Schauffele. This might be stupid, but I just again, it's like there's not that many guys that I feel like are consistent enough where I feel like the floor is pretty high, and he's kind of one of them. I know we haven't seen him since the Memorial. He's cooled off a lot since that run of 3 straight top tens, but that run of 3 straight top tens did include the Players and the Masters. This year he's T3 at the Players, T9 at the Masters, T7 at the PGA Championship. He's top 10 in 10 of his last 14 major championships, including 3 in a row, and there was a stretch of 5 in a row that included his 2 major wins. He's never finished outside the top 15 at a U.S. Open in 9 starts, which is outrageous.
Yeah,
7 top 10s, 3 top 5s. Obviously, doesn't have a win, but he's approach play, distance, and accuracy combined. And if he leans on that 3-wood to get a little more accuracy, I won't be that mad. I think he's one of the few guys where. God, I'm going to regret saying this. He's one of the few guys where missing the cut feels like an improbability or the lower probability. I'm trying to, say this without jinxing him too hard, but that's going to be my pick. I'm going to go Xander Schauffele. So he is off the board for, I already forgot it was Nick who was second, but yeah, I don't know if you guys want to add anything to the Xander Schauffele convo or you want to just jump right into your picks. I don't know how y'all want to take this, but that's going to be, where I go.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think he's a player that has been one of those lurkers that we've talked about throughout the year, where we think that he is close and could potentially make a run. So I don't hate that. I said heading into the week that I was going to need to see some proof at the RBC Canadian Open before I made my decision, and I was encouraged by what I saw. So I think I'm going to have to go Old Faithful on this one. I think anybody who has been following this pod for a long time knows that I have a propensity to pick Matt Fitzpatrick for big events. And, it just feels like one of the player profiles that makes the most sense throughout this. He's one of these incredibly accurate off the tee, always leads the field in greens and reg. The putter is the only thing that I'm a bit iffy on, but, we saw it last week. He gained a lot of strokes in putting as well. Made a pretty good charge at the RBC. Obviously didn't win it, but still proved that he could make a charge and sort of take over a tournament, and something we haven't really seen since the Zurich. So I just think it's one of the more obvious choices this week, and I think it very well could bite me, but I think I'd be remiss if I did not pick him this week, or worse, see him doing well for one of your teams.
He was, I debated that. I think I was kind of between him and Xander just now when I was thinking about it. He, for reference, also T12 here in 2018. So he does know Shinnecock, has course history at Shinnecock. Top 20 in 4 of his last 5 majors. Yeah, he's a good fit too. He just makes sense. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about because I agree, the putting is the tough thing. That might be his downfall, but also I wonder when you guys hear a guy's not as good a putter, but putting is going to be absolutely brutal for everybody. Are you okay, does that make you care more about whether a guy's a good putter or not? Or are you well, it's going to suck for everybody. There's pebbles on the green. There's, whatever. There's wind blowing shit left and right. I don't, I almost am I don't it's going to suck for everybody. It's going to be, luck.
Yeah, I honestly hadn't even really thought about that until you said it. That does kind of make sense. And I think it's not, his putting also just hasn't been that bad. Obviously it was pretty bad at the Memorial, but he hasn't really been a bad putter throughout the year. It's just been 1 or 2 tournaments where the putter didn't really show up. Obviously the Memorial wasn't good. The Truist wasn't good, but I feel we've also just for whatever reason, we've agreed to just get rid of the Truist just before Like the tournament before a major is just always kind of iffy. We've just kind of agreed to throw that one out of the window. There was just some
He says while arguing that Matt Fitzpatrick at the tournament before a major was really good, and that's part of his reason for picking him.
No, I didn't.
Nobody mentioned the RBC Canadian Open finish?
No, it must have been the wind. No, but like I do think that it's going to be a difficult putting week for everybody, and I think the one thing that I'm very encouraged with is that, you know, he's very good at hitting greens and reg. True. The one thing that he's also very good with is short game. He's one of the best short game players on the tour, one of the best in around the green categories. So if he misses the green, which is unlikely, but if he does miss the green, I have very good faith that he is going to be able to get up and down, be able to put it close. And I feel like that's sort of almost an equalizer to the putter. If the putter's not firing, I think the short game is going to like put him in situations where he's not going to need to lean on the putter as much.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Xander and Matty Fitz would have been one of my picks. I was hoping neither of you guys would grab them. And God, you know, honestly, of the favorites, it's kind of a surprising batch. I mean, obviously, Scotty and Rory are always going to be 1 and 2. But then, you know, like Tommy Fleetwood, Ludwig, Cam Young's really fallen off. And it's like, God, is Tommy or Ludwig going to win? No, there's no way. And then I'm like, is it, you know, can we just walk away from this group of favorites and not pick Scotty? But or Rory, with the way this course is looking like it's shaping up and the form we've seen Scotty in the headspace, I don't know how he's going to deal with this and deal with the adversity. So I don't want to pick Scotty. I think I have to pick Rory, you know?
Yeah. Scotty's also got the career Grand Slam that he's fighting for.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot.
What does that even mean? That's like the thing we talk about, but what does that mean to him going into it? Like, I have the chance to win the career Grand Slam, so I'm going to do better and try harder than I would have and not be.
No, I'm saying it's more on his. It's more weighing on his mind. It might be worse.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it matters either way.
Okay.
I don't know what that has to do with it. I think that's just a media narrative thing that actual players don't really give a shit about until it happens, kind of thing. I don't know if that actually weighs on his play. I just mean more in the form we've seen Scotty. I just don't know how he's going to deal with the way this course is going to play, and I just wouldn't feel good about picking him. I think I've got to go with Rory here. We know how he's kind of shown up at the big events and at the majors, and we haven't seen him play all that often, like I said, but he hasn't been bad. He's been pretty good. I know he missed the cut here in 2018, but he usually does pretty well at the U.S. Opens and doesn't necessarily win, but he's always in contention at least. So even if he doesn't necessarily win, I think he will be around the leaders. I'd be surprised if he wasn't in the top 10. So I think I've got to pick him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't mind that at all. It's still you though. You're still on the clock here as we move into the next best tier here, which again, plus 3,000, plus 7,000 includes the likes of Bryson DeChambeau, which I hope you don't pick. That would be crazy. Brooks, Sam Burns, Siwoo Kim, Colin Morikawa, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have anybody that stands out to you, Kyle?
There's a few guys that stand out to me. You know, I'm kind of going back on my guy, Siwoo. I'm kind of liking him this week. I mean, it's hard not to like Sam Burns. It's hard not to like Russell Henley. It's hard not to like Wyndham. This is like, for me, this group is tougher to pick from than even the favorites group.
Yeah,
like in the favorites group, I'm like, oh, there's a couple guys who I wouldn't dream of picking, like I just said, with like Tommy and Ludwig. But here, there's like, this is a really good group. God, even Patrick Reed, like he's played really well in every major. You know,
there's a lot of names staring at you.
God, dude, this is tough, man. This is tough.
I'll give you a Siwoo stat if he's on your mind.
Something.
How many major championship top 10s do you think Siwoo Kim has in his career? He's made 36 major championship starts.
2, none. I don't know. Bad. It's bad.
It's 1.
1.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. He's got a T8 like in 2022 or something like that. That's nuts. 36 starts, 1 top. He's a good player too. He's got a players championship under his belt. Like, he's done some good stuff. But
yeah, it just seems like the majors just for whatever reason kind of.
But this is like, you look at like what this course wants, and it's like, oh, it wants Siwoo Kim, and then we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think I've got to just take Wyndham Clark.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't really want to root for him, but I think I have to. He's just, and maybe it's dumb because everybody's been on him recently, but there's a reason everyone on him. He's been playing really well.
Did you guys see what he was talking about yesterday about like just redemption after last year? And it's like it's not redemption after you destroy a locker room.
Yeah, that's just like therapy or something.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
he's someone that, full swing kind of humanized him in the sense that it sort of brought his anger issues to the center stage. And like, at least it doesn't excuse his actions, but like, as someone that was a bit late to the full swing party, like watching that episode and seeing, I'm like, okay, yeah, that kind of makes a little more sense. But, just not a good look. And I don't want to dwell on that, but no.
Yeah, 3 straight T11 better finishes though. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Byron Nelson. His approach.
He's going to be hard to root against.
Yeah,
or to bet against rather.
Yeah, it's just going to be driver accuracy. It's just going to be accuracy off the tee. Like that's going to be what makes or breaks him. I think if he's like in the fairway pretty regularly, he is probably going to be up near the top. But there's a lot of guys like that. I like.
Yeah, I think like another one of his names is Colin Morikawa. Like, just I was keeping an eye on him at the RBC Canadian Open, just looking at the driving distance, and like his ball speed was there. It was like getting in the high 170s and the 180s. Like the ball speed was showing out, and there were definitely some areas of his game that looked good, but just not good enough. Like
now the approach play is like settled around average, which is weird. It's like that's your whole thing.
Yeah, like I'm just looking at his data golf page for it. It's like 0.74 stroke gain putting, 0.03 around the green, 0.06 approach. It's like I said, good but not great. Like not made to. You wouldn't talk me into a major there, and so there's a lot.
Going Colin Morikawa.
I'm not going Colin Morikawa. I would feel guilty taking Sam Burns from you, Will. So
you can do it if that's where your gut wants to take you.
I'm gonna whip.
I'm an honest and fair man.
Honestly, I think this is really bothering me. I should have maybe looked into this probably a little more, but like I'm just looking at all of these players and pulling up data golf pages as we speak. I think I might go Victor Hovland.
That's what I was saying. Do it about. I wanted somebody to do it so bad. I wanted a reason to talk about him.
I might go Victor Hovland for the vibes, honestly.
Yeah, sorry for reference. He just was solo third at the RBC Canadian Open. You're just stacking up RBC Canadian Open finishers, but
I guess yeah.
But yeah, solo third, and he had done nothing this week. My first note under I like to have my notes, so I had my Victor Hovland, and then my first note just is anything real, because I think we mentioned him before the RBC Canadian Open, and we said like he might win this week, and then next week have pool floaties on again at the driving range. We have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and this was by far his best of the year. It's like. I don't know. Like he truly might still be workshopping everything. And he led an approach, was he? Or I know he's always a good approach player. Actually, no, I think Fitz led an approach player or something. But he was. I've been looking at too many stats today. I don't remember who it was at the RBC Canadian Open, sadly. But it should be a good course for him. Like he's accurate and a good approach player. It's just a matter of like, can he translate last week to this week or not?
Yeah, he's accurate enough in the sense of like we said, there's wide fairways, and so you kind of you don't need to be accurate, but you need to not be not accurate. that, put my master's degree to the test there. But he's someone that he's one of the best he's a very accurate driver of the ball, which gives me hope. And then obviously last week with the approach play was very, very good. I think the more you say it, Will, you kind of talked me into this, like, everybody's going to be bad at putting, so like don't penalize bad putters. That being said, I'm fully prepared to watch Jordan Spieth to make some god awful putts this week. But I don't know. I think it's not as bad of a take to say that Hovland can do some stuff. I think he, like you said, it's just all going to be dependent on whether he can translate RBC into. I'm a big proponent of form is a big part of what I do with my picks, and it hasn't been great for him this year, like at all. It's been a pretty god awful year for Victor Hovland, but maybe he can get hot at the right time. Obviously, last week was very good, so who knows?
Yeah, and he's an interesting case in that, like, he can flip the switch at any time, and when he does flip the switch, it's like, oh, he might win everything. He can win any tournament when he flips the switch on. It's just like weird. You never know what's coming. I am going to go Sam Burns. Part of me really, I feel like I have too many eggs in this basket, and part of me really wants to go Patrick Reed here, but I think I'll save that for some office pool or something that I'm doing with buddies. I don't know, but here it will be Sam Burns, and I do like it makes sense. I mean, T4 at the Memorial, T20 last week at the RBC, and that was with not a particularly good final round. Kind of exactly what I was looking for. I said last week that I really didn't want him to win the RBC because that meant he couldn't win the U.S. Open logically. So now he can win the U.S. Open. That door is still open. It adds, again, approach, putting, and around the greens are the best parts of his game. Accuracy off the tee is probably going to be the question mark, but it's been good in the last two events. So I'm hoping that's a trend that will keep going. If he is on or around fairways, it's hard to believe that he'll go too far down the leaderboard, knock on wood. And I know, like you said, Nick, and like I've argued, like I think putting skill is not something you want to lean on at a course that's going to make putting really, really hard. But that being said, he is the best putter in the world, or like one of the best putters in the world. So it's a little added, gold star bonus or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So he's definitely somebody that, I've had my eyes on for a couple of weeks, really, since his run of good form started. Obviously T7 last year, T9 in 2024. That's at the U.S. Open. It's a course. It's a tournament that fits him. He's one of those guys, like I said last week, that it just feels like he's going to retire with a U.S. Open trophy in his cabinet. So I'm gonna pick this to be the year that happens, that he knocks it off and wins at Shinnecock Hills, hopefully, or at least plays decently, so I get a couple points out of it. I love that. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. So now we go into that was what next best. Now we're in mid range. Oh boy, I barely even. Okay, this is a tough tier. This is weird. You've got guys.
This is a weird group.
Yeah, it's like Adam Scott. We're getting into the range that I, I'm less confident in my theories here. We've got like Adam Scott, Jordan Spieth, Joaquin Niemann, Christopher Rayton, Alex Fitzpatrick, Jake Knapp, Sepp Straka, and Aaron Rai. I think I've got two guys that I think I'm probably between here. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this, but I've got two guys that I'm probably between here. Damn, that sucked. I was about to say Sepp Straka, but his recent major record is truly horrific. You know what? This is probably stupid because I'm going off like almost no information on this. It's just vibes. We're going to go with Chris Rayton. And purely because I saw somebody post a video on Twitter of him hitting an approach shot on 14 to like a foot. That's really the main reason. And he has had some really high highs this year. T6 of the Memorial is coming off a pretty horrific RBC Canadian Open, but I'm just going to zag where you're zigging, Nick, and just go anti-RBC with this pick. He won the Truist. Obviously, he did badly at the PGA and not well at the Masters. I don't love this, but there's really not many people in this field that I feel good about. I mean, Alex Fitzpatrick. We'll talk about a couple of these guys, I'm sure. Alex Fitzpatrick, I saw with VR goggles on the green today. I don't know what that was about. Jake
Yeah.
Knapp, I don't even know where he's at.
Is he playing this week, the Napster?
Yeah, he's still in the field as far as I'm aware, as for the last time I looked. And Sepp Straka, it's like he's one of the. It seems like every time it's windy, Sepp Straka is awesome, which is part of why I wanted to go Sepp Straka, but he just hasn't really had the results this year. And then Aaron Rye's not going to win back-to-back major championships. Although the floor might be high, you never know. I think it could be a decent week for him, to be honest. But anyways, that's my. Yeah, I don't know why I just listed off all of them, but I'll let you guys pick them. I'm going to go with Chris Raven.
I've leaned very heavily on ball striking in my last 2 picks, and I know we've said that putting isn't really going to play that big of a role, but for insurance purposes, I'm going to nab a good putter. I'm going to go with Mav McNeely.
Ooh,
He's someone that he's been on a semi-decent roll, obviously T18 at the PGA, T10 at the Memorial. He wasn't great off the tee at the Memorial, I will say that, but was one of the best in the field with the putter. And, he's been one of the best. I think Data Golf has him in the 99th percentile of both putting and around the green. So that'll play. This is one of those, he was, briefly in the mix at the US Open last year before, kind of just fell victim to some of the brutal conditions at Oakmont. So I don't know. This one, yeah. I'm not going to put too much weight into this one. I'm kind of just using this opportunity to say that I don't really like a lot of the players in this pool. I don't think there are any winners in this pool, but I'm grabbing a good putter for insurance purposes.
And leaving Jordan Spieth on the board as well.
Who?
Good move. Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why all these guys have the odds where they are, and they're in this group. There's some guys who feel like they shouldn't be in this group and have kind of underperformed this year. Like I think of Hideki comes to mind, like Robert McIntyre. I feel like, he's kind of started the year well and just hasn't done great. Alex Fitzpatrick in this group he's ascended and he's been playing well. But like Shane Lowry, we talked about him a little bit last week. The fall off has just been too great to overcome. I think I'm going to go with Harris English, and he's kind of a guy who's sneakily played well this year. He hasn't necessarily contended to win in a lot of tournaments, but he's been pretty consistent. He's only missed 1 cut all year, and we're talking U.S. Opens. He kind of has a knack to play well in U.S. Opens. He's got a bunch of top 10s over the last 6 years or so, from 2020 to 2023. He played this tournament really well. Hasn't done great the last few years, but he's never missed a cut here. So I think he's a good guy to pick. He's been good with the putter this year. His around the green and approach strokes game kind of concerns me a bit for this course. But I just think he'll be solid enough. So I think I'm going to go with Harris English here in this group.
I like it. I didn't realize how well he's been playing this year. Again, like you said, it's nothing flashy, but top 20 and top 25 in each of the last 3, including the PGA Championship, T4 at the RBC. And he does, even outside of the U.S. Open, 2nd last year at the Open Championship, T2 at the 2025 PGA Championship, T12 at the 2025 Masters, T18 at the PGA this year. He tends to find his way around these tournaments.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that trend continues.
You want to take us right into long shots? This is a pretty gross one.
Yeah, this one's tough.
Especially, it's hard looking at players that struggle in a lot of places and then trying to match them up to Shinnecock with 30 miles an hour wind, 30 mile an hour winds, just being how are they gonna figure this out? But we'll do our best.
Yeah, I mean, God, man, this is tough. Do I dare pick Cam Smith? Or
I'm thinking about it.
Honestly.
Nick's thinking about it. I know.
I mean, I see Akshay, but he's just been so bad recently. It feels like.
It is a really, really grimy group. And Jackson Coivan we're going to save him for amateurs. He doesn't count in this group. I wouldn't do that to Nick. That'd be cool to have him pick amateurs.
It'd be really funny. I'm not going to lie.
I wouldn't do that to you. And it's like Gary Woodland, like big names, Keegan Bradley, Gary Woodland, major championship winners are in this tier, but it's just like,
former major champions.
Yeah, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah. God. How about I'm going to go a little off the board here, and a guy who's kind of been playing kind of well recently. I'm going to go with Sahith.
Okay.
I don't know how he could very well miss the cut and play horribly. But I've been impressed watching him lately, and I like him. And I think he's good. So let's go with Sahith. I think this is purely a vibes pick. Purely a vibes.
I like it.
I think once you get to this stage, like they can equally miss the cut or win. Like this is not a surprise here. But yeah, that's not a bad bet. I think he's definitely someone that's been trending upwards, and we forget he was a very good player a few years back, but just hasn't really been able to recapture that. But with good form, who knows? Like, oh boy, it is me.
Good luck.
Yeah. I was looking at Gary Woodland just because, like, I figure, like, he has the reputation of, like, being a great ball striker, but he's really just hasn't been that great. He lost, like, over a stroke at the Memorial, and just wasn't, like, his putting hasn't been, which, like we said, I'm willing to overlook, but he's in the 7th percentile around the green. So that's just pretty bad. I think
not great.
Not great. I might have to steer away there. And I could go Cam Smith. I think that's one where I'm feeling a bit okay with. I think off the tee, he's never been a very long hitter. Maybe he can keep working with Claude Harmon, get some more accuracy, and then just another very good putter. He's gained over, he's another one that's in that like 99th percentile, both around the green and putting. So I think there's another insurance pick of like, maybe you can get me some points there. But like you say, it's really hard to just prepare some of these guys, like how bad, like, do you, like, looking down, once you get to this point, it's like, do I think you're capable of surviving the carnage of Shinnecock? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I'm currently scrolling, and I'm down in the plus 50,000 range right now, which is how you know it's not
this is not good. I think I'm gonna go Cam Smith, and just, there's not really much with that pick other than he's played well at the majors this year so far and has been better on live than he traditionally has been, and then just the new coach, maybe he can get some good results there.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
It sucks so bad. I was hoping my turn would never come. Man, it is true. Like, I could stick to my guns and just do the Nikolai Højgaard thing because I've been doing it all year, but he's been bad recently, and this course might be like his nightmare. Because he's all distance and his approach play has kind of fallen off. Tom Kim is staring at me kind of funny. I feel like he's played moderately decently. I think, unless I'm losing my mind. I know he had to qualify here, which is usually a great sign. But in recent events, T15 at the RBC Canadian Open, T6 at the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic, and that was built on approach and around the green stuff. Man, I like that feels really stupid, but I kind of want to do it. Jason Day is one that I was thinking about. That might be the vibes pick, just because like been here before, done this before. Wearing Malbin in the wind, that feels kind of cool. Like a little, he's gonna have the shirt flapping and stuff. Screw it, let's do it. Let's do Jason Day. Why not? We'll tie a knot on this tier. But like, where else am I gonna go? It's dark in there. I mean, I would have gone Cam Smith for sure. Corey Connors, I thought about. Rio Satsune, I thought about. Corey Connors been playing horribly, so is Rio Satsune. Almost went with Ben James. That would have been an interesting one. He's the just graduated, won the was at the top of the PGA Tour U rankings, graduated immediately, was like leading the RBC Canadian Open after 1 round or 2 rounds, or was near the lead.
I think after 3 rounds.
Was it after 3 that he was up there? So that was somebody, but it's just, again, like having a guy show up to, he shot a 78 in his 3rd round. That's not great. 63 in his 2nd round, though. But asking a guy like that to show up to, if he can shoot a 78 at TPC Toronto, imagine what he can shoot at Shinnecock Hills in 30-mile-an-hour winds. So, like, and Jason Day, I don't know, he's done it before, whatever. We'll have some fun with it and see what happens. You never know where he could end up. It could be good, it could be bad. But that brings us to the amateurs, which, Nick, I'm realizing now I don't entirely know how we decide who gets the 2nd pick. I guess it's me because I'm 2nd because Kyle's winning the picks. Maybe.
I guess that's fair.
Okay. Well, yeah. Nick, you get the 1st pick at the amateurs. I have no idea where you're going to go here. This could go anywhere.
Jackson Koiven, bring me to the promised land. He definitely can contend this week. I think I would not be surprised to see his name up there on the leaderboard. I think he's someone that can make an immediate impact. He has that pedigree. He's contended at some of the amateur world's top stages. So I would not be surprised to see him up there whatsoever. I think like the one thing that I was laughing about earlier today, I believe I sent it to the group chat too. He's a Melbourne athlete now, and just like seeing what his fits were. I think someone said like, "You mean to tell me that Jason Day has been making this company look like a fool for years when Jackson Koiven shows up looking like absolutely clear? Like this is what we could have gotten." And it's like, okay, fine, but. Look good, play good, I guess. Who knows? But yeah, Jackson Koiven is. I don't think we need to say more. He's just a dog, and I think that he's absolutely capable of contending.
Yeah, there was no other answer.
Yeah,
there. I mean, it was Jackson Koiven. Again,
have fun, guys.
He's in an odds. He's got better odds than the guys we just picked with in the long shots tier. Or at least he's got pretty much the same odds as Cam Smith. He's got better odds than Jason Day by a pretty wide margin. So. Oh man, I'm like, this is another. There's 3 guys I'm considering here. Obviously, Miles Russell and Mason Howell. I kind of like it's just that again, like this is going to be so hard for any of these guys to make the cut. It's almost a wash. But part of me wants to go with. No, I'm going to go with Miles Russell. I thought about Preston Stout for a second, just because he, just came off winning the individual NCAA men's thing. Technically, like if you look at odds books, Miles Russell is not listed. Mason Howell is plus 450,000, and Preston Stout is plus 57,500. Which makes me think they know something that maybe I don't. But I'm going to be stupid and go with the recognizable name over the better odds here. Even though Preston Stout's playing really good golf right now, and obviously has a bit of the just age and experience, maybe not PGA Tour experience, but age, life experience. I don't know, who knows? Whatever. Miles Russell, welcome to the team. Kyle, I'll leave it to you.
For someone like Jackson Koiven, that's someone that maybe could get you a bigger result, but like once you get to this stage, like as we've seen with the other 2 majors, like this is basically I don't know if we have established like what we're doing with missed cuts this week, but like this is probably like our cut pick.
Yeah, what we did last time was count the 3 best scores. So I guess we just hope that 3 players make the cut. We'll throw a contingency plan in there to sometimes you'll do whoever if your player doesn't make the cut and you don't have 3 players that make the cut, the player that missed the cut then records like you have to add on like the worst score every day. If you don't have 3 players to make the cut. Anyways.
Please make the cut, guys.
Yeah, we gotta hope we get 3 to make the cut. But we still got Kyle. He could still pick a winner here. Giuseppe Pueblo might be coming for the U.S. Open crown.
Well, he's not going to do it on my team.
Oh.
I'm going with the Ohio State Buckeye, a 6'3" monster. And the guy whose name sounds like he could be the main character of a romance novel, Von Harbour.
Yeah, it's a great name. I hadn't thought of that. That was a good.
God, that is a name where you just like have like the slow motion, like slick the hair back, getting off the
Exactly.
motorcycle, like.
Is this just an Ohio State thing, Kyle? Are we Ohio State fans? You got the ship, and now you got Vaughn Harbor.
This guy was competing with Ship at Ohio State, and in a different world, I would have picked Vaughn Harbor at the beginning of the year instead of Neil Shipley on my team. So
and it would have been probably the same result.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much the same
this is my chance to right that wrong. So I'm going with Vaughn. Welcome to the squad.
I like it. Very nice. So let me try to tally up who we all just picked. But I've got me with Xander Schauffele, Sam Burns, Chris Rayton, Jason Day, and Miles Russell. Nick, you've got Matt Fitzpatrick, Victor Hovland, Mav McNeely, Cam Smith, and Jackson Coyven.
Yes,
and Kyle,
sir.
you've got Rory McIlroy, Wyndham Clark, Harris English, Sahith Theegala, and Vaughn Harbor. We'll put those out on a little graphic, on our Instagram and on our Twitter and stuff. But those are the teams that we're going to be bringing to Shinnecock Hills, hoping for the best here. I feel all right. I feel really good about my top two, and then I feel horrific about the next three. It's pretty much where I'm at. I just need one of those three guys to make the cut. I feel good about Xander. I feel good about Sam Burns, Chris Rayton, Jason Day, Miles Russell. I don't know. There's a lot of downside in there.
Yeah, whoever. I mean, that it's become like our tradition to like once we get to like Friday to send the "it was always so and so" text, and I'm very interested to see who it always was this week because I think it's going to be a pretty random one.
It's going to be Aaron Rye.
It was, yeah. Honestly, I could see that.
Just like he's just going to be there again, and we're all going to be like, "What the hell?"
I mean, the way to go might just be hoping that somebody avoids a huge number, and you don't necessarily need a winner. But as long as you don't have somebody absolutely killing you, that might be the recipe this week.
We got to have three guys make the cut. As long as you have three guys make the cut, I think you're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, I would be surprised if all three of us have three players make the cut on our team.
This is all about survival.
Yeah,
exactly. Which is what it's all about for these players at Shinnecock too. We'll see who can do it. I don't know who. I truly have no idea. I don't know who did we not mention that's worth. We didn't really talk about John Rahm. I don't have much to talk about other than the fact that he played well at the PGA.
He's a good ball striker. Someone that maybe could. I don't think that's I wouldn't have batted an eye if either of you picked him. I thought that would have been a good pick. But did we talk Bryson at all?
We very briefly touched on the fact that it's going to be tough with him with an erratic driver, but he is trialing a new driver. Which
right.
You feel like it was a 77-degree TaylorMade or something like that he's trialing? Yeah. Right, because that's a smart move. Let's do that.
TSA didn't let him bring the printer through the checkpoint.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to keep tabs on. I mean, like, who knows? Maybe it fixes everything, and he's incredible. He drives at 400 yards and straight. It's possible. But yeah, I don't know. Is there more to say about Bryson? Like, I think you can see, right, like when we were at the Masters and even the PGA, he was up in that upper echelon of top 5 for guys in terms of odds, and now he's fallen back to be between Brooks Koepka and Siwoo Kim. No shade to Brooks Koepka or Siwoo Kim, but that is, the recent play at major championships seems like it's starting to be reflected in the odds a little bit. So
yeah, I think he was definitely a front runner heading into the Masters. Like, that was never up for debate. And then, like, you could have made an argument at the PGA. Like, I was very close to picking him too. But now I think Vegas has caught on with Bryson at majors, and this is definitely more of a cautious situation for now. So I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. I think it is very likely that his week ends early, but I don't really, that's like we said it from the beginning. That's the problem with these live guys is that you kind of need to see, you need to see it in order to really be willing to pick them. And you don't see it. I mean, we can watch live, but it's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. Another one we didn't mention, Cam Young. We mentioned him very briefly in that he's not playing very well. I have no idea what to expect. T4 in 2025 at the U.S. Open, other than T67 in 2024. We've talked about this a bunch. Like, he's obviously a different player. But his approach play has fallen off. He's not consistent putting. A bit bad showings at the PGA. I mean, bad for him. I think it was like a T27 or something, 8, 9, something like that at the PGA Championship. Then worse at the Memorial. I don't know. It's a lot of variability in what could come from Cam Young this week. He could also like be super sharp and win, but it's just I don't know that he didn't fit it quite as well as guys like Matt Fitzpatrick and Xander Schauffele did to me.
Yeah, I was a bit, if this was like a month ago, you could have talked me into it, but now it's like he's kind of fallen into he's where I was with Fitz a week ago of like that show me, don't tell me aspect.
Yeah. Kyle, anybody you really wanted to make sure we talked about? Anybody we missed so far?
No, I think I brought up everybody that I think was worth mentioning.
Yeah, I think we did. I think the only, to put a little more on Patrick Reed, because I kind of think he's going to do really well, and I don't know if I'm regretting my pick, but I get that. Yeah, dude, the drop off from the next best into the mid range was pretty devastating for my team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, solo fourth in 2018 at this course, T12 of the Masters, T10 at the PGA, and his not only the most recent 2 major starts, his just most recent 2 starts at all. Those are the last 2 times he's played professional golf, to my knowledge at least, which kind of rocks. I'm kind of with that. I love it. But yeah, I don't know. He's still got the hands around the green. It's who knows, but it could be a fun one. He kind of, falls into that category of like, I don't see him hurting himself too much. Like he obviously doesn't have a lot of distance off the tee, so he doesn't fall into that bucket of guys where I'm like, they might just start ripping driver and just hope they can get a wedge in play. Like he's going to be a little more careful than that because he doesn't have that firepower anyway. So I don't know. Maybe the floor is a tiny bit higher. I'm curious to see if he can stay hot. I don't like that I'm becoming a Patrick Reed fan, but it might be just what's in my blood, unfortunately.
Redemption.
Yeah, it is. He has, he took the play. Bryson had that brief redemption tour. Patrick Reed is now taking the place of the Bryson redemption, I think, now that he's kind of fallen back to his old ways.
Yeah. I think we always knew Bryson. That was going to be short-lived with Bryson.
Yeah, that's true. Justin Rose, McLaren Irons, bringing a U.S. Open to the Rose household.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, honestly. Like that's just another one where there's just no.
Yeah, just a hard no. I'm with that. I think you're right. The last one I'll throw out there, Russell Henley. If we're doing the accuracy game, Russell Henley, great accuracy, great approach player, somebody to watch for sure. I don't know. Like I don't really have a great gauge on where Russell Henley is like currently at and what he's been up to where his finishes are. I feel like, other than that Charles Schwab Challenge win, like I don't really feel like I have a great gauge of what he's done. Does have a T3 at the Masters and then proceeded to miss the cut at the PGA. I don't know, man. But if we're playing the accuracy game, he's one of the guys that we're going to have to keep our eye on for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting week in the sense that I don't even know if anybody's going to survive this week, honestly. Do we think we're going to get a score under par this week?
Oh man, I feel like it feels unlikely that we don't, just because of where golf is. But I like that. There's a chance. I'd give it, I don't know, the 33% chance that we finish over par.
What do we think the win? Like let's place our bets now. What do we think the winning score is going to be? Maybe that could be a part of the points game too. Is like winning score.
Let's do winning score and cut line. Cut line in 2018 was 8 over par.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? Wait, I got to pull back up my note that I had on the 2018 tournament because it was ridiculous. Let's see. Yeah, in 2018, when Brooks Koepka won at 1 over par, only 5 players were 5 over or better, and 15 players were better than 10 over. The cut was at 8 over par, and I already read to you guys the round by round average scores. I would put my winning score bet at 2 under par, probably.
2 under.
I think I mean, these guys are so good at golf. Like, I don't know. It feels feasible. We'll see. It could easily be 5 over, but I'm gonna go 2 under.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 over.
Wow, wow. Okay, Kyle, are you gonna play the middle game, or are you gonna just go on one side of one of us?
Nah, I think I'm gonna go. I'll go even par.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah,
I think that's reasonable. Cut line. Good God.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 over.
Yeah, I think what's going to be weird is just like, and maybe this is just me reacting to like going through this all day today, but looking at like it feels like there's so much variability in like the outside of the top like 5 guys. Like it could be like 10 over, just because I feel like there's not that many guys that I feel like anybody could go out there and shoot an 80. You know?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna say 10.
I was gonna say 7. I think. What did you say, Kyle? 5?
6.
6? Okay. Well, yeah, I'll say 7, I guess.
What do you think the lowest score of the day is going to be?
Of the whole week?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like, what do you think the lowest round someone's going to shoot is?
I think let me pull up 2018 really quick, because I believe So Tommy Fleetwood shot a 63 on Sunday in 2018. Wow. I have to imagine that was fairly dormant conditions.
I think it was also the lowest final round score of a U.S. Open ever.
Yeah, I think there's only been a handful of like 62s and 63s in majors, period. On round 1, the first round, the low score was a 1 under par 69. Round 2 was a 66. Round 3 was a 66. Round 4 it was 163, a 65, and 166 and 167. I'm gonna 65.
Yeah, I was also gonna say I think it's gonna be like someone's gonna shoot a 65 on Thursday, and then it'll be carnage the rest of the way.
I had a little like index card note that I didn't want to put in the doc because I wanted to ask you guys and see if you knew the answers, but I don't remember why I wrote this. I don't know who it's about. I didn't write a name. I just wrote has not finished inside the top 15. Uh-oh. Has not finished. Sorry, has not finished. I dropped my index card. Has not finished inside the top 15 at a major since the 2024 Masters T4. That's 9 straight, but I don't know who that's about. So do with that what
Jordan?
you can't be. Did he finish in the 2024 Masters? Now I got to look that up. Unfortunately, you're going to have to stick with me. The other one I had written down that I want to give you guys a little quiz on. When do you think the last playoff in the U.S. Open was?
Ooh.
No idea.
Was it? No, because like DJ Brown his club at Straits.
2013.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably what I would say. That's it. That sounds right.
2008. It was the very famous Tiger Woods Rocco Mediate.
Yeah.
I can't believe there hasn't been one since then.
Yeah, that's insane.
We almost had one 2 years ago, but
yeah, we did. And last year was also a one-shot victory, right? But it's let's see, past results. Yeah, 2 shots for JJ Spawn. Bryson 1 shot. Wyndham Clark 1 shot. Matt Fitzpatrick 1 shot. John Rahm 1 shot. But no playoffs since 2018 or 2008. Sorry, I can't read. And if you just scroll through this, then you get to 2000. It's Tiger Woods by 15 shots, but for the most part, it's been pretty close. Other than that, and also, by the way, I tried to look at the 2024 Masters to see who I was talking about, and nobody finished T4 because there was T3s and then 7th place. So I don't know. I don't know what the hell I was looking at.
Okay, read the stat again.
Has not finished inside the top 15 at a major since the 2024 Masters T4. Oh shit! Wait, I think I remember who it is.
Well, Jordan finished T4 at the 2023 Masters and is not finished inside the top. Actually, no, he's T14 at the 2025 Masters. So,
damn it.
And then T12 this year.
Has not finished inside the top 10. It was somebody like near the top. I wrote it down for a reason. Could it have been Fitz? No, it definitely wasn't Fitz. What am I talking about? Oh, I know who it was. It was Tommy. It was Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a fun little. Yeah, that's what it was. His best finishes are T16 at the 2025 Open and T16 at the U.S. Open in 2024. But yeah, no top 15 finishes since the 2024 Masters in 9 events. Anyways, that's my fun fact for you guys at the end there. Hope you enjoyed a little fun. There
we go.
Anybody else? Anything else? I think we're probably good. Giuseppe Pueblo, the Juice, best name, other than maybe what's the Paradise?
Oh, Jimmy Paradise?
Oh, Jimmy Paradise, yeah.
Jimmy Paradise. Oh no, it's Jake Peacock that's actually in the field, and Jimmy Paradise did not qualify, right?
Yeah, right, I was gonna say I didn't think he made it.
No, he didn't. He didn't make it, sadly. I was gonna try to do like a best names at the U.S. Open thing, but there's just not that many. To be honest with you, there's not that many good ones. I was disappointed. It would have been Jake Peacock by a landslide. There wasn't much fight to put up. Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a crazy week. I can't wait. I hope the wind. We'll see. I mean, today's Tuesday. On Thursday, we're 2 days away from knowing what's going to happen on Thursday. We'll have a pretty good idea what this will look like. I'm hoping we get a low round on Thursday of 1 under or even par. That would be great. That would be the best way to kick this off. I'm going to be sitting there with popcorn on my couch, eyes glued to the TV, good posture, just psyched, ready for it. It's going to be a blast. Scotty's probably going to win the career Grand Slam.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, we didn't give him much mention, but it's probably, going to happen. Anyways, we've been here for a long time. I think we're probably good on the U.S. Open. Is there anything I missed? Any huge themes of Shinnecock Hills that we didn't throw out there?
No, I'm good.
Kyle, I know you probably want to stay on for another 30, 40 minutes, so feel free to take
I think
Kyle wasn't here for our Masters extravaganza. So.
Oh, yeah, we haven't quite made it to the 2-hour mark, so that's good. There is an LPGA Tour event that we will not go too in depth in. It's the Meyer LPGA Classic. Thank you, Nick, for pulling the Golf Around the World slide up. You are my hero, as always. No Nelly Korda, Gino Titakul is in the field. Mio Yamashita. Those are kind of the two big names among a few others. Kiara Romero is in on a sponsor's invite, so keep an eye on that. It's always fun to watch. And then, I don't entirely know what the we'll see if we end up doing a pod on Friday, our mid-major update, if we're up for that. We'll post it all on Twitter. And then obviously the big US Open recap coming on Monday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Kyle, I don't know. Did I miss anything? I don't want to take your job here.
No, that was great. We'll put up all the teams there. And like we mentioned earlier, we're going to take the best 3 guys and do cumulative scores. And we might toy around with also doing that winning score as a tiebreaker or add it in there somehow too. I kind of like that idea. And as always, keep up. Will and Nick will be posting some reactions and whatnot as we get going throughout Thursday and Friday's round. So that'll be fun. Our Twitter at Center Cup Pod. You can see all of that. Instagram and TikTok at centercup.pod. And if you want to, talk to Will about the wind direction or some of the weather configurations
you did just remind me about something that I haven't mentioned yet, but I'll save it for the any final thoughts.
Ask Will if he's watched The Mummy yet.
I forgot about that. Email at centercup.pod@yahoo.com. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
I got one, Kyle. Thank you.
Okay, what is it?
No, there's a really cool article by Gabby Herzig at The Athletic that you should go check out. It's about how at Shinnecock, a lot of the holes, there's 3 holes that go in triangles. They all form a triangle together. And whatever the wind direction is, you don't get it consistently. There's no out and back. It's just whatever triangle you're in, you're going to get it off the right. Then it's going to be down and off the left. And then it's, whatever. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays. There won't be a lot of consistent wind. So, if guys shape the ball one direction, and that might be tough to try to hold it up in the wind one direction. The wind's gonna be pushing it on the next hole. So keep an eye out for that, but definitely go read that article by Gabby Herzig. It's really well done and very interesting as you get ready for the U.S. Open. If you need a little bit more content.
Yeah, that was a cool note. Good article for sure. Nice, Nick.
We're approaching an hour, 45 minutes. I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for listening as always, everybody, and enjoy the week of golf. U.S. Open, baby.